and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsbury, and on me, my word, that's a jolly good start. And with me this evening, on line number 2, we have there Mr. Beastie. Hello there, Mr. Beastie.
Hello there, Lord H. I'm on you, am I, this week?
Pardon, sorry?
I'm on you this week, am I?
So I've been told, so I've been told. Marvellous, ding dong. And also we've got a very special guest this week, Mr. Shaun. Hello there, Mr. Shaun.
Hello. Hello, Lord H.
Hello,
Mr. Beast.
So, Shaun, for the listeners, tell us who you are and where you're from.
Well, my name's Shaun, as you might have guessed by the fact that you called me Mr. Shaun. And for the last, a long time, I've lived in Sheffield, and I've got the good fortune to have had a grandfather who was a Wednesdayite, and he showed me the way, shall we say, albeit in the 1970s when we were pretty dire. So I've been a season ticket holder at Hillsborough since 1976. I was only 2 when I got my first season.
I think I've seen that introduction on dating.com, Shaun.
Don't give my secrets away, my wife.
You're not big Shaun from the Isle of Man, are you?
I am. That's it. I am Big Shaun from the Isle of Man.
My word, right indeed. And but my sources also tell me you do have an alter ego as well, Shaun. People may know you by a different name.
Well, on Owls Alive and Owls Online, and for that matter, Owls Talk, I've got the username Derutti.
Yeah, so you do spread yourself about a little bit, dear old boy.
I've done my best to do that over the years.
You're spreading a lot these days.
Well, very welcome to the show, boy. Very welcome to the show. Right then, chaps, let's crack on. First of all, this week, Beastie, we have a new signing over there at the Wednesdays. A new young lad as well, Mr. Paul Curry. What do you know, Beastie?
But I know absolutely nothing about him other than everything you read on the internet about him. It's glowing reports. And I'm sure it said on the Sheffield Wednesday official site that he's going straight into the first team squad. So Dave Jones must think a hell of a lot about him, not to sit him out in the development squad.
Absolutely, old boy. I mean, there has been rumours that he's been banded about for the Northern Irish squad, under 21s over there as well. Shaun, I don't know if you know any more about the boy.
I think being from Dublin, he might be a bit disappointed if he ended up playing for Northern Ireland. To be fair.
Jeeves, would you bring the foot remover? I do believe my foot is stuck in my mouth again. Terribly sorry, old boy. See, that's
anyway,
I mean,
the guy was apparently he was on the verge of signing for Blackburn last season, and turned it down because he didn't feel that he was ready to come over to England. So he sounds like he's got a fairly level head on his shoulders. So hopefully, I mean, he's a Dublin lad. He's from one of the rougher bits of Dublin, from what I can gather.
What part of Ireland were Paul McGrath from and Clinton Morrison?
Clinton who?
Well, I mean, to be fair, McGrath was actually Irish.
Really? Was he born in Ireland?
He was born in Ireland and he had an Irish accent. I mean, Clinton...
Oh, he did actually, yeah, I remember that.
Clinton's about as Irish as Andy Townsend, so...
Yeah, Clinton has got a strong Irish accent, though.
He has. Yeah, his abilities certainly have.
His abilities be Jesus.
Just bring us on, Beastie. There was rather an important announcement on the end of last show. Mr. McCabe has taken over your affections over from Clinton.
I don't know where you've heard that.
We have our spies, old boy.
No, that's just not true. Nobody can take Clinton's place. Nobody.
Of course, Clinton did do a rather little favour for the Owls just the other day. Scored against the Blunts.
He did indeed, and he absolutely loved every minute of it. They were giving him stick all the way through the game, and there he is. Pops up, cup in his ear to Blades fans, and by all accounts, a little bit of a fracas occurred because they weren't too happy about it.
He got himself into a little bit of bother, did the old boy. Oh, fantastic. So, ladies and gents, you probably have noticed that we're a few chaps light. Of course, Eddie is still away on holiday, but Beastie did pop up and pop up, shall I say, and go and have a little chat with Fudge. And here are the results of that little chat.
Right then, I don't know if you read on one of the news feeds the other day, Fudge, about after the Millwall game. There were a little bit of argy-bargy by the Millwall fans on the way home, and one of their fans wrote a piece in a newspaper, some Shopper Weekly or something, a southern version of the Metro, where he wasn't right happy about us slagging off the Millwall fans on Twitter. And it got out of hand where all the Wednesday fans were pretty much saying that the Millwall fans had pushed a police horse over on a load of school kids who were on the way to their sick grandmother in hospital. And he's right, really. It highlights the Chinese whispers-esque-ness of Twitter.
It does, yeah. The Twitter rumours can be dangerous a lot of the time, yeah.
But we all know, everybody knows, every football fan, every human being knows that the Millwall fans are actually responsible for everything that goes wrong.
You know, all the great atrocities of the world, it's always Millwall fans. I'll tell you what, Beast, this morning, yeah, I came downstairs, poured some cereal in the bowl, opened the fridge, no milk. That was Millwall fans.
You see that? That's the sort of thing that really makes me mad.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing that gets me going about Millwall fans, because they don't care. They just don't care.
You sat there with a bowl of cereal, nothing to put on it. What am I going to do?
Yeah, and the first thing you'll think about is Millwall fans.
Shaking my fist to the air. Millwall fans.
Yeah. Get it on Twitter. Let everybody know.
Yeah, I tell you what. That's what we'll do. We'll make up a hashtag. Damn you, Millwall fans.
We know Millwall are responsible. Hashtag Millwall caused this.
Yeah, Millwall caused this. Cause, ED, caused.
Caused, yeah.
Yeah, Millwall caused this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else? This morning, yeah, I got in the car. I was gonna go to the gym, bang some iron, you know. Flat tyre on the front. That was Millwall fans.
Yeah. I'm really starting to get all het up about this, because this morning when I got in the car, I have my routines. I'm an old man, and I like to have a certain amount of routine on a morning. But when I got in the car this morning, I had done my routines, and there was a little bit of a smell.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think that that's an old person thing, but I know differently.
Yeah.
That is down to Millwall.
Yeah, this sort of thing they need kicking out the league for, Beast. We shouldn't stand for it. Hashtag Millwall caused this. For example, this morning, again, as I was coming down the stairs, I caught my heel on the step, slipped a little bit. Millwall fans.
Slipped a little bit.
You know what I mean?
There's no depths that they won't sink to, is there?
No. Like last night, for example. I'm in a pub, I turn round, accidentally nudge somebody, causing me to spill a bit of my beer.
Gee.
Millwall fans.
Hashtag Millwall caused this.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's driven me round the bend all day is our cat. He absolutely hasn't stopped from the moment we got up this morning, when I missed my routines.
Yeah.
All day long, non-stop, meowing. It's gone right through me, non-stop. You know who I blame for that?
Who do you blame for that, mate?
I blame the Millwall fans.
Hashtag Millwall caused this. I tell you, honestly, they're out of order, mate. They're out of order. But sorry to interrupt, chaps. Just had some big news come through on my Twitter feed. It turns out that Rodri, and Miguel Lera have been shopping. I know it's big news. But
Jesus.
I know, right? It gets bigger. Now, I don't know if any of you have seen this photo, but there was a young chap had his photo taken with them, and he genuinely doesn't look happy. Well, I think it was tweeted by his sister or his mum, because it was a girl's name tweeting the picture. So I think clearly he must have been a blade or something like that. But what it does look like, it looks like when Miguel's got his arm round his back, it looks like someone shut him down. You know, like looks like someone's shut him off. But also, I've got bigger news than that. I've got bigger fish to fry.
Go on then.
Bigger fish to fry.
Tell me.
Gary Medine
Yeah.
Has obviously taken on the Olympics furore that's been around this summer. We've all had a good time at the Olympics. And what he's noticed is that we all saw the great adverts with Usain Bolt pretending to be Richard Branson.
Oh, yeah.
And then the new one came out, Usain Bolt and Mo Farah pretending to be Richard Branson. Judging by Gary Medine's new facial hair, I think he might be signing for Virgin.
Why? What's going on, like?
Have you not seen Gary Medine, Goal Machine's new goatee beard?
Explain it to me.
You know, if you cut off the bottom of a paintbrush...
Yeah, I do indeed, yes.
And just stick to your face?
Yes. I do know what you mean, yes.
Yeah, it's big news. It's big news.
Are you saying he's gone a little bit Rolf Harris?
I think he's gone... I think what he's going to do is probably going to sit in a change room just going... Boop, boop. You know, that thing he used to do on his cheek at the beginning of Rolf's Cartoon Club? He probably does that. He probably does that. The worst bit in these, in the kits we've had, the worst one we've had in a while, is the one where we were sponsored by Sheffield Children's Hospital. Now...
The worst kit, or...
The worst kit itself, the worst shirt, purely because, look at that black collar that he had on, that V-neck collar, awful. The entire thing fitted like a sack of potatoes. It was fairly basic as a shirt, but the worst thing for me, and this is going to sound, and I'm going to get absolutely crucified for this, but the Sheffield Children's Hospital logo is a cheap Pudsey Bear rip-off. Do you know what I mean? Now, all right, we were donating £1 to every shirt sold to Sheffield Children's Hospital. That's amazing. We're still doing that now. They're still on the back, aren't they? It's amazing. And I love that we're putting into the community, and the Wednesday fans are paying. It's amazing. But, bloody hell, fire. I'm 31 years old and I was walking around. I was living in Croydon at the time, as Crystal Palace were knocking us down. I'm walking around the streets of London with a big bloody teddy bear stuck on the front of me.
Was that worse than walking around with a big blob of Chupa Chups on front of your shirt?
But I tell you what, that Chupa Chups one, the one with the black collar, that was a nice shirt.
No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. There's no way on earth you'll convince me that Chupa Chups shirt was good, because that... Yeah, but you see, I'm gonna go against you there with that Sheffield Children's Hospital logo, because that's their decision to have that logo in it, right? It's not ours.
But we could have had the letters on the front, Sheffield Children's Hospital. I'd have been fine with that. But
I think Sheffield Children's Hospital, they see themselves as synonymous with that symbol.
But it's a cheap Pudsey Bear rip-off. They've copied it from somebody else.
Well, maybe Pudsey Bear's the rip-off. Maybe they were there first, mister. Right, so take your Chupa Chup bloody ideas back down to London with you and your Millwall mates, right?
We larded our ways. And
your larded our cockney ways, right? Don't you be coming up here and bad-mouthing our Sheffield Children's teddy bear.
In our hospital, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, my apologies.
Them kids in that hospital are poorly. Right? And you are bad-mouthing their little teddy bear.
Children, I know, I'm an horrible person.
Are you sure you're not Millwall?
I'm not. Do you know what?
A little bit.
I tell you what, that god-awful design that was on the front of our shirts, I blame the Millwall fans.
Right then, gentlemen, so let's crack on with the games. First game up, Millwall. Beastie, we're expecting an interesting game. I do believe you was there, am I correct?
Yeah, it was an interesting game, to be fair. I think most Wednesday fans are getting a little bit giddy about winning and this long run that we're on, and they expect teams like Millwall, because they finished low down last season, they expected us to just mow them down and them to lay down and let us beat them easily. But they were a good side. They were a really good Championship side, and miles better than anything that we played last season.
Yeah, absolutely, old boy. Shaun, like I say, season to go. I assume you was there as well, old boy?
Oh, yeah. I thought we played very, very well, to be honest. I think that we coped, apart from the final 15 minutes of the first half. I thought we pretty much overran them. But it's difficult with Millwall, because I remember in the games, certainly during the noughties, they used to just come up and bully us. And I remember one game in particular where they just kicked us off the pitch. And I think that mentality persists, even though they're quite they're not a bad passing side, but there's still that undercurrent with the Millwall side, which is slightly thuggish, I'm afraid to say. But I thought we played really well.
I think they are a good footballing side, and reading some of the Millwall forums, they think that was their undoing when they started hoofing the ball and not playing their normal game. They thought it played into our hands, but to me, we switched off as soon as it started raining. Once it started raining heavy, our players looked like they didn't want to be there, and I think Millwall scored their 2 goals in the first half during the heaviest part of the downpour.
I'll be coming on to those boys. I mean, first things first, JJ knocking the first goal in. Gentlemen, absolute belter. Oh, fantastic little run. He does that lovely little run onto the inside again, takes the player on, and bash, absolutely. Look, seems like we do have the decent JJ for a spell here, Shaun. Do you think we're going to carry on this way with him?
Well, I wouldn't put money on it, to be honest with you, Lord H. I mean, this is JJ we're talking about. He appears to... The great thing is that the guy appears in his 30s to have realised where his brain is, which is a bonus, because my take on JJ, old JJ, was that he was a bit like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, that there was something basic missing from his armoury. But, I mean, long may it continue. If you look at the way he's played over the period that he's been at Wednesday, he's either been on fire or he's been awful. So let's just hope that this period can stretch as long as possible. I think, some of the boards had picked up quite rightly that JJ's goal was partly created by the space that Rodri pushed open, if you will, by pulling a couple of defenders out. But even having said that, it's still a brilliant goal. And in the West Brom game, when I counted how many shots JJ had in the West Brom game pre-season, and it was his 8th shot before he got the ball on target. So we've just got to enjoy it while it's there. I think a bit like this run that we're on, because he's such a wonderful player when he's at it.
Absolutely. Like I said, it'll make it continue. But basically, going back to what you said about the actual the 2 Millwall goals that came along, decent finishes in my opinion, old chap. I mean, fair enough, the first one, Henry, the chap there, a decent curling finish. Would you think we could have done better? Should the shot have been there? I don't think curling had much of a chance.
I think everybody should have done better. But like I say, once it started raining, it looked like they didn't want to be there. I looked at Raider's face as soon as that rain started coming down, and I was soaked through to crack. Right, so he's on there in his football kit, and he wasn't enjoying it at all. And he was definitely out of position for their first goal. So there's fault number 1. A lot of people are blaming Beavers for not covering him. There's number 2. And a few people are blaming Kirkland for not making a better effort. I'm with you. It were a good move by them. They caught us flat-footed, and they deserved the goal.
Fair news. Second one of theirs as well. Looked a little bit flat at the back. Through ball, straight through. Nobody there again. Again, this was all well and good talking about this run that we're on, but we do seem to be flooding her in back there. Is something you're worried about there, Shaun?
I mean, I think that the second goal came about as a direct consequence of a misplaced pass to McCabe by Semedo, and that pulled our entire midfield out of shape. And because if you look at the run that their number 6, I can't remember what his name was, Trotter,
the fellow that scored, that's right, yeah.
Their number 6 made a run from quite deep, and what happened was that Jose played a square ball that was just over hit, and for once McCabe couldn't actually pick it up, and he was pretty quick-witted, and the number 6 had run through, and he literally just sliced straight through. You can't actually blame the centre half, because their job is to look after the strikers. It's the midfield players' job to pick up players running from the centre, and they just didn't do that. But I mean, 99 times out of 100, I think we'd have probably got away with that. But it was just, as you said earlier, they were quite well worked. Both goals were well put together, and we can pick over the bones of our defensive side. And I suppose that in a way that's the difference between this division and League One, in that I think both of those goals probably wouldn't have happened had we been playing standard issue mid-table League One opposition. But that, in a way, that sort of makes it even better, the fact that we seem to be able to outscore teams at the minute.
No, I agree with Bob, but it does seem to be that we are shipping them in that way. I can't really see where the problem lies. I don't know if you've got any other thoughts on that there, Beastie?
No, we can't. Whilst we're scoring more goals than them, people will take it on chin. It's when them goals are counting and we aren't getting any back. But I take on board everything that Shaun said there. Is bang on the money. But we just look so flat, and that ball went through the middle of us so easy. What a well worked goal, and to me, like we said before, it shows that they are a decent football inside Millwall when they're allowed to be.
The point is, they shouldn't be bloody well allowed to be. So here we go, half time, gents. A little bit under the weather, so to speak. Worried, Beastie? Did you think we'd be able to bring this back?
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it so far in every game. I said to somebody at half time, so far in every game, we've seen at least one good half of very good football. And in this game, so far, we haven't seen that. So the next half is going to be brilliant, and I was confident that we'd score goals, and we did.
We did, absolutely. And who's there to pop him in for us? Mr. Leera. There he is again, oh boy. It either must be or it should be up there with top scorers so far. Central defender. I mean, Shaun, is this another Paul Walrus we've got on his hands here?
I think at 32, I think he's going to struggle to be a walrus. But I think that the great thing about Leera was his awareness. When he's sharp as a tack, when he's in that 6-yard box. I mean, if you look at both goals, they were, particularly the last one, it was pinging about like you wouldn't believe, and they were both clean. You know, there was no element of it being jammy on any level. It was clean finishes, and Leera's he must be loving it, because as a player, all his career he's played pretty much in the third tier. When he was in Spain, he was always in the third tier, and I suppose it goes to prove how good continental players can be when they can do the muscular side of things. And what's impressed me about Leera this season is how well he's coped with the physical side of the game. I thought he might get found out a little bit, because Blackpool, obviously Holloway let him go, and that's why we got him. And I thought, well, maybe he's just not good enough for the Championship. But the guy seems to have carried on with everything that he finished last season with. He seems to have brought into this season. So I love him. I think he's fantastic. And that's not even the Spanish loving side of me coming out.
Could be rivaling Beastie's lovely Clinton over there. Beastie, I did know that you noticed something about the Leera celebration on the goal there.
Yeah, that was it was on his second goal when it all went mental. I mean, the thing about Leera and Raider to a certain extent as well is they are men of the people. The fans absolutely love them. They may not be the best players. They're not the most technically gifted players that we've ever had at the club, but the fans have embraced both of them, and they've embraced that. They absolutely love it, and when they score, you feel the love coming from them. And Leera loves getting in amongst the crowd. He did it for the first. He just ran towards the crowd. He stopped short, but on that second one, because it was in the final seconds of play, he was having it big style, and he jumped into the crowd, and the steward was trying to stop him. There was a ball boy in the way. The ball boy got swallowed up by the whole of the players running in, the fans leaning over the top. The stewards tried to push him out, and he put an arm round the steward's throat and dragged him in as well. I don't think the steward's feet were touching the floor at that point. They were just dangling there. And all of a sudden, the ball boy squirms his way out, looks around, realises where he was, and butters his way back in. He wanted to be part of it. Then he come out again and wondered what the hell was going on. It was just up there with everything that we experienced last season, all the important goals. It was just a wonderful release of emotion on a really wet, horrible day. Great stuff.
Absolutely. And again, chaps, as you said, the run continues. What can we say? Is it possible that this could carry on the whole season? Are we getting his hopes up too high, or do we need to plant his feet back on the ground? Mr. Jones himself has said that winning is a habit, a very good habit to have. And what do we think, boys? Are we going to drag this out? Am I getting myself all emotional?
I think every single Wednesday fan looks at the next game and they think, "Oh my word, this is the one. This is the one where it's going to end." And then we get there, we resort back to type. We go back to his default setting, which is playing good football. And then at the end of the game, when we've won by, whether it's a narrow vista margins or not, whether we've conceded goals, we just think, what were we worried about?
I think the challenge is the end of the month, to tell you the truth. The end of September. We've got Bolton at home and then Wolves away. Obviously, two teams that have just come down from the Premier League, and that if we can get there, we can get through the next three games without losing, which I think we're more than capable of. Hopefully, the sort of momentum that we gathered at the end of last season and we've taken into the start of this season, hopefully that'll carry us through. So I don't see any reason why we can't go a very long way.
But I mean, like you're saying, Shaun, two difficult games coming up, but of course the next game, Premiership opposition over there in the Cup, Fulham. Beastie, I mean, obviously we had the pre-season against Reading. Reading might have not put a particularly strong side out there, but Premiership nevertheless. And Fulham look like a decent team to me, Beastie.
Well, I've heard a lot of, or I've read a lot of Fulham fans online saying that they played a weakened side. Well, I've looked at our side that we played. There were 5 changes to our long run of winning games. 5 changes to a Championship side. Now, a Championship side against a Premier League side should not be able to make that count, but we did. Don't get me wrong, it was a pretty dull affair first half. When I eventually got into the ground, I mean, I was 15 minutes late due to all the queues outside. It came as a bit of a shock, obviously, to Sheffield Wednesday that there were going to be 14,000 and odd turning up for a League Cup match. But the fans have bought into this feel-good factor and they turned up in the numbers. You can't go wrong with £10 entertainment like that, can you?
Absolutely not. I mean, what can you buy for £10 these days, Shaun?
Oh, not a lot. And that was certainly great value. I mean, I was in. To be fair, I was on Tuesday. I was in the posh seats, right in the centre, and then somebody arrived and said, "Oh, come down and see me at half time." And then for some bizarre reason, I ended up watching it underneath the pitch, which was great. It made the second half absolutely fantastic. But at least I was with people who I love. And unlike my son, who decided he was going back to the nice seats, who deserted us all. But yeah, I mean, it was a great night. And Joel can bang on forever about them not turning up, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that even Daniel Jones, I mean, blimey heck, if somebody said to me that Daniel Jones would cope with Damien Duff, I'd have laughed at them. But he did. And we put a proper shift in again. And just this season, we shouldn't be surprised by anything this season. Because this Wednesday team, every challenge that they face with, they seem to rise to it. It's just fantastic.
Absolutely. I must admit, Charles, I've been a little bit worried about Antonio in the recent few games. He does have a tendency to get lost every now and again, but it seems that he on his way back there in the Fulham game.
Yeah, he got a little bit more time and space on ball against Fulham, but we noticed it second half against Millwall. He seemed to buck up a little bit, and we started to see little touches of the old Antonio. And the same again in this Fulham game. As the game went on, Not just Antonio, they all did. They all sort of grew into their roles, and they really started to believe in themselves and think, we can actually win this game. And regardless of lineups, regardless of players that were dropped or included or whatever, Wednesday played the better football. We were the better side, and we deserved to win. And 1-0 probably doesn't do justice to how the game went.
I'm also being told, chaps, that Mr. Coke played well again.
He did. I don't know what Dave Jones has done to Giles Coke, but he don't seem, even his demeanour, he don't seem as surly. He was a very surly young man last season before he went out on loan, and he seemed to have a right attitude problem. But whatever Dave Jones has done, it's worked. He works hard. He's pretty consistent. He did make a couple of mistakes. People keep pointing out that he made a couple of mistakes that could have actually cost us, but they didn't. Right? And our players, all of them, have made mistakes that could have cost us, but haven't. Giles Coke's no different, and I like what I'm seeing with him. I don't think he's going to replace anybody anytime soon, but what a great backup he is now.
Speaking of which, of course, Mr. Prutton has gone out on loan there, Shaun. It's sad to see him go. It's only a 3-month loan out there to Scunthorpe, but do you think that, obviously Mr. Coke has taken precedence over Prutton now, do you think we shall see Prutton prominently again in the squad? I mean, this time last year, we're all singing his praises. Of course, that first goal that he scored last season, absolutely belting strike. But is it, unfortunately, curtains for Mr. Prutton?
I think it probably is, to tell you the truth. I think that he suffers from the fact that his role in this side under Jones, who's never going to play two defensive midfield players, is taken 100% by Semedo. So Semedo seems incapable. I hope I'm not tempting fate here, but Semedo seems to be made out of granite. So as long as he doesn't suffer any suspensions through bookings, you're talking of 46 games a season, man, and that Prutton's cover for him. So I think we've seen the last of Prutton. I quite liked him as a player. He's pretty tidy. I think he's never achieved what his early career promised. The guy played for England under 17s, under 18s, and under 21s when he was at Forest, I think, and then he went to Southampton, and his career, for whatever reason, just never seemed to develop. So it's a shame, but I don't think we'll see him again. I think there's probably already a deal in place for him to sign permanently. I think the worrying thing is there's a lot of talk in the sort of Twitter talk today about both going to Chesterfield, and that'd be a bit of a mistake. Unless we definitely are bringing in another midfield player. Now that we've lost Amado, if we lost Coke as well, we'd be a bit thin. With Lines being out injured, there's not a lot of cover there. So I hope we don't get rid of Coke, that's for sure. But Brooks, I think we've seen last year.
No, I mean, as you say there, I know Amado's gone. Beastie, could you just remind me again what kind of haircut he's got there, please, old boy?
What kind of haircut? Who's got Prutton?
No, Amado.
Amado, he got a 1950s haircut, a 1950s haircut.
And how would you
Shaun is very keen on the 1950s haircut.
How would you describe Mr. Prutton's haircut there, Beastie?
It's very Robert Powell. It was very Robert Powell, but now, since he's had it trimmed, he's very 1950s haircut.
Oh boy,
that's where he's at, though. There's a resurgence in quits, and you just need to get on board. Seriously.
Never.
Okay,
are you actually capable of growing a quiff, Beastie, old boy?
I have one in wardrobe that I bring out.
To be fair, I can actually vouch for that. I've seen said quiff. It came out on a very special birthday last year, if I remember rightly.
Right, 40th, wasn't it?
It was your 40th. I thought it was your 30th, actually.
Yeah, it might have been. I forget now. Move on.
If you're very, very good listeners and you're very, very good boys and girls, one day you too might get to see Beastie's quiff. As we're saying, let's go back to the Fulham game. A rather dull affair, Beastie. Shaun, you were saying that Mr. Smedo there made a granite, but it does seem that Sidwell was trying his best to break him. What do we think? A couple of yellow cards, at least one yellow card, at least 2 stern warnings. Do we think the chap should have been off?
Yeah, he should have gone. I mean, I think the ref was very generous. I think we've seen it before with Premier League teams that have come to Hillsborough, and referees seem to be slightly starstruck. And I hope that when we're a Premier League team again, we get the same advantage given. I think if the boot had been on the other foot, if we'd been down at Craven Cottage and we'd been picking lumps out of their star midfield player, then I think the referee would probably have sent whoever was doing it on our side off. So, I mean, it doesn't matter really, because we did our talking in terms of scoring more goals than they did. So I've got to say though, in their defence, I have no idea why that goal that they scored that was ruled out supposedly for offside was ruled out, because I mean we were stood directly in line, weren't we, Steve? And there was no way it was off. Must have been a foul.
Yeah, it's just because basically nobody really wanted them to win.
Well, fair it is. Yeah.
That's it.
Well, end of the day, chaps. Win's a win. We're through to the next round of the cup. We are still waiting for that draw. But at the time of recording, it's not been drawn yet. But I'm sure by the time this drops, as they say in the biz, we shall know. Beastie, are you expecting, or would you like a nice big draw, or would you like a nice simpler team to keep this little cup run going on?
Yeah, I always want a big team away. Somebody like Arsenal or Man United away. I know Shaun disagrees with this, but for me and for Youngin as well, and for most Wednesday fans, they would be out in droves if we could draw Arsenal at the Emirates or Man United at Old Trafford. They would absolutely love it, and especially if we could turn them over. What a day that would be.
No, I absolutely agree, old boy, and there's no doubt. I mean, we've all seen the travelling support. Shaun,
save that up for the semi-final. When it's home and away legs, we'll have Arsenal in the semi-final. We'll have anybody at home, to be honest. And I mean, I think we're capable of doing the Cardiff in this competition. I think if we get the rub of the green, a bit like we did in 1991, where we got relatively favourable draws all the way through until we got to Chelsea in the semi. I know it sounds a bit naively optimistic, but then why change the habit of a lifetime? I think we can go a very long way in this competition, and let's not forget we were the last non-top flight team to win the League Cup, so who's to say that 22 years later we can't be the next?
Absolutely. Absolutely, oh boy. I mean, Mr. Jones does seem to think it's an important thing altogether. He did say that he would like to do well, and he was actually speaking about Europe in an interview after the match as well, saying that it is a chance for us lower teams to get there. I mean, basically, do you think that's an ambition? I mean, looking at the team he put out, it didn't seem that way to me.
No. It's caught between two stools here, isn't it? No matter what he says, people are going to read the wrong thing into it. If he says, well, I want to get a few other players fit, then people are going to say, well, you're not taking it serious. He's got to say that he's taking it serious, especially after last season when Megson admitted that he didn't want to win the game against Bradford City. If Dave Jones had come out and said anything like that, especially on the back of this run, especially against a Premier League side that most Wednesday fans would have thought were there for the taking, then it'd have been crucified by the fans. It's not. Let's be honest here. It's not a realistic target for us to get to the final, but Dave Jones has got a record of doing that, so you never know.
No, absolutely. And one last point about the game, chaps. Mr. Bywater back, and we keep a clean sheet. What do we think? Is he organising well, or do the fans just pull the socks up, or do you think it does make a difference having Mr. Bywater there screaming and shouting, or is that something Mr. Kirkland's just got to settle in for yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've both got wonderful attributes. I think Kirkland's a far better shot stopper than Bywater, but Bywater certainly, I don't think there's any denying that he organises the defence in front of him very, very well, and he's always chirping. And if you could, the irony is, if you could combine the two keepers, it's a bit like if you could have combined Francis Jefferson and Jermaine Johnson, you'd have had the ultimate sort of attacking player. If you could,
you've had Chris Waddle.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's, and maybe Chris Waddle is the illegitimate son of Francis Jefferson and Jermaine Johnson, maybe. But if you put Bywater and Kirkland together, you'd have a right keeper, because I think they're both great. And the wonderful thing for Wednesday is, again, it's a bit like when we had Pressman and Turner in 1991. You know, if either keeper got injured, you knew that you've got adequate cover. Well, more than adequate cover. So it's a beautiful position to be in. And one of the things that Jones and Mandaric has backed him, and Aldridge for that matter, has done really well, is that we've got a team where there's two players for every position, and they're not just make weights. They're players who can play, who are capable of turning in a performance. Maybe we need another winger, but you know, we're doing this beautifully.
Absolutely, Bob. Right then, so chaps, anything else to say about the games there?
No. In the end, we deserved to win both games, Millwall and Fulham, and that's to a lot of Cockneys seen off.
Bye-bye, you southern bounders. So then, chaps, of course, we have got one more game to speak about. A very important game, and Beastie, I do believe that you trotted off to do a bit of an interview for us. Owls Alive versus Owls Online in a very special cup. So, Beastie, we'll go over to you on your little trot out, and we'll listen to your interview.
Right, this week we've got a very special interview with the manager of the successful Owls Alive football team, who beat the dark side of the internet, Owls Online, 4-3 when they were playing for the Bradley Cup in honour of Tim Henner's son Brad's on what would have been his 24th birthday. We're very lucky to have with us on the podcast the successful manager of the all-conquering Owls Alive team, Benito Durruti. Are you there, Benito?
I am. Is that Mr. Beastie?
It is Mr. Beastie.
Hello.
I suppose you're over the moon and cock-a-hoop after the game of two halves on Saturday.
Hey, it was fantastic. We were like the Barcelona of the internet in Sheffield.
And I understand it was a high-scoring game, but Owls Alive just managed to squeeze one more goal and win 4-3.
Yes, well, it would have been a 5-3, but it had we lent them a player because they didn't have enough players, and he cleared it off the line. He is now dead to me. His name is John Gill. He knows who he is. If he's out there, he knows that he won't play for Owls Alive no more.
So, what sort of football was on show then? If it were 4-3, it must have been a free-flowing game.
Fantastico. We start with the 4-2-3-1 formation, not the famous Dave Allen 4-4-1, which we thought about, but you know, we went traditional, total football, and we were fantastico, truly.
Didn't you have some problems with the referee? Wasn't he an Owls Online referee, so maybe a little bit biased?
The referee, I think he had been promised the prostitutes. You know, the way he was giving the decisions. The decision for the penalty to Owls Online, it was the only way that our defender, Marco Beresi, could have kept his arm out of the way would have been if he'd have chopped it off. I tell you, crazy.
I'm sorry, did you say he was promised a prostitute?
For sure.
Right, well, I'll be the referee at the next game, if you like, and I can...
Fantastico. We promise you too.
Excellent stuff. So, you had the referee who was biased. Did you have any linesmen as well? Because I hear there were some bad offside decisions.
No, the linesmen, they weren't there. The linesmen were the two managers. When I was giving the offsides, it was all fair. When Terry, the manager of Owls Online, was giving the offsides, it was, he's 15 yards offside, and when it wasn't even a 1 yard offside. It's terrible.
I've heard some really bad things about their manager. Terry is He's not the sort of person that we like to associate normally.
No, that's right. He's not got much hair as well.
And didn't he have a few ringers in his side?
Well, maybe they had the referee from the last game. He was actually playing for them.
It don't get any worse than that, does it? What about the dirty tackling? Surely the Owls Online referee must have put a stop to all that.
They had the 21st century Claudio Gentile playing for them. His name was Ronaldo, and not Ronaldo the Brazilian fat boy, but Ronaldo the Manchester-based Sheffield Wednesday supporter.
Oh,
he was terrible, I tell you, terrible.
Yeah, so not the real Ronaldo then?
No, not the real one.
So, in a sentence or two, how would you sum up this fantastic victory over the lower lights on Owls Online?
Well, I mean, I have to give all of the credit to the players, especially Tichy, centre forward, who is a very small boy. His name is Richard in real life, and he was fantastic. He scored 2 goals, and he played like a true legend. We had a lad in midfield called Gary. He did very well too. He scored a goal, and obviously we got the penalty which started it all off, and that was Mark at the back. Fantastic.
Oh, you've always got to have a mark at the back.
Absolutely. We have a lot of marks, that's for sure.
That's from all the dirty tackling then?
Exactly. And
right.
and it changing room afterwards on the pants, you know.
Well, we'll not go into the changing room antics. But thank you very much, Benito.
No problem. Pleasure to speak to you, Mr. Beastie.
Thank you. And once again, Owls Alive come out on top. And one day, who knows, Owls Online may actually win something and represent the internet in a good, honest, fair, decent way, like Owls Alive.
Absolutely fantastic, Beastie. Owls Alive, triumphant.
Yeah, well, it's what you come to expect. As everybody knows, watching all the westerns and all the films, the good guys always win out.
Now, it has to be said, it may seem that we have a slightly Owls Online bias this evening, but we did ask a chap to come on from Owls Online, did we not, Beastie?
Owls Online, yeah. Terry was supposed to be coming on, but unfortunately, he made some excuse about getting married on Saturday and having loads of things to do. To me,
I've heard he's got basketballitis. That's what I've heard. A little bird has told me that he's got basketballitis.
What's basketballitis?
It's where you're watching the basketball on the telly and you can't move your eyes. Well, that's a little Facebooky type bird has told me that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's just an excuse, isn't it? I mean, who would go to the lengths of getting married just to avoid talking about a heavy defeat against rivals, nearest and dearest rivals?
Well, I'm sure we'll have the chap on one day. As we said out there, we are trying to get plenty of folk on. Talking about Owls Alive and all that sort of thing, Shaun, I do believe that you are involved in another little Wednesday stroke project over there. Would you like to tell us about that one?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, last season, cricket season, I'm talking. We a group of Wednesday football supporters who also liked cricket struck upon the idea of trying to resurrect the old Wednesday cricket club, and bearing in mind that as a cricket club, Wednesday haven't existed since 1924. You could say it was a bit of a gamble, and it hasn't been massively easy, I'll be honest, but we've definitely got something going now. We had our first season in 2011 appropriately enough, in the Sheffield Alliance Midweek League, and the day of the week that they play on is after you gentlemen, Wednesday, which is great. So Wednesday Cricket Club was resurrected, playing on a Wednesday evening in Sheffield, and we did really well last season. We finished third, admittedly in the 4th division, but that was a fairly creditable performance. This season we decided that we'd push the boat out a bit and try to have two sides, because we thought we got enough players. And the football club have been quite supportive. They've certainly helped us in terms of on the community side of things, and they've been good enough. We've one of the guys who plays for us is an internationally renowned graphic illustrator, and he designed a logo. And from that, I got in touch with a shirt manufacturer in Wales, of all places, called Belief, and we put together two types of shirt. One a traditional cricket shirt, and the other something that was a bit more like a football shirt or a training top. And the club have kindly allowed us to sell the shirts through the shop, and they've really sold well, because they're nicely designed, and it's all part of we're in the retro section in the catalogue.
Retro.
Exactly. I find that quite amusing, because we're actually playing in these retro shirts in real competition. So, it's quite amusing that we're reinventing history. But what we're looking at the minute is we've played for a trophy earlier on in the season with 3 other clubs in Sheffield, including a children's hospital 11, called the Tom Marsden Trophy, which is a reference to a very famous Wednesday cricketer from the 19th century. What I know most Wednesday fans, I think they appreciate that we were once a cricket club, but I'm not sure everybody necessarily realises just two things. One, why the football club came about, and the other is just how big Sheffield was in terms of cricket in the 19th century. It was literally the epicentre of the cricketing universe. In Yorkshire County Cricket Club have a lot to thank Sheffield for, not the other way around. And this is a way of trying to get that back. And the other thing that again, I don't know whether it's widely known, is that the reason that the football club was put together in the 1860s was to keep the cricketers fit during the winter. So the irony of all ironies, given that the cricket club disappeared between the wars, the irony of all ironies is that the only reason the football club came about was because of cricket, in every sense of the word. And so we're trying to, in a very difficult environment actually, we're trying to re-establish Wednesday as a club cricketing force in Sheffield, because as I'm sure you guys know, Sheffield United have never gone away as a cricketing club. That's a bit sad. I mean, the fact that they're still there, that they've carried on and we haven't, is a bit sad. But the reason why I'm so glad that you've asked me on today is because at the end of this month, not this month, at the end of next month, we've got, as our end of season friendly, we've got a game against Scarborough Cricket Club at North Marine Road. So the Wednesday Cricket Club, for the first time, I don't know whether Wednesday as a cricket club have ever played against Scarborough. I would guess they have, because you think how old Scarborough is, they go way back to the 1860s, and Wednesday, obviously, even though they disappeared as a cricketing entity in 1924, there's still a 60-year period when I would hope that Wednesday played Scarborough. But even if they didn't, or if they did, then we're having the first version of something that hasn't happened for at least 80 odd years. And we're hoping that with the support of our friends at Wednesday Eye, because we got very close to Nigel in particular in terms of his patronage and support for Wednesday Cricket Club, and we're hoping that we might even get a few Wednesdayites across the watches, because I don't know if you two know, but North Marine Road, if you like your cricket, it's a beautiful place to play cricket, and we'd like, if possible, to make this a sort of permanent fixture where the Wednesday Cricket Club at the end of every season played Scarborough Cricket Club, and I'm talking to one of the local businesses in Scarborough Boys about the possibility of them sponsoring a cup, and we're thinking about trying to do it as a charity event. Wednesday and Trevor Braithwaite in particular at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club have been kind enough to give us a lot of support, and we're going to have a thank you to your dog, and we're going to have we're going to have a signed bat to raffle off on the day. So that's all great. And I just think it's lovely that Wednesday is a cricket club back. I just hope that next season we can kick on and get promotion, like hopefully the football club are going to get promoted.
Fantastic, boy. And if people do want to get involved and have a look, where would they go for a bit more information there, Shaun?
Well, we've got a website which is thewednesdaycc.co.uk. We're also on Twitter, which is @thewednesdaycc. We're on Facebook, spookily, the Wednesday CC. And if the worst comes to the worst, if you Google me, Shaun Fenelon, then there's a variety of ways of getting hold of me. Obviously, Owls Alive is my spiritual home, and that's always the best way, I think, to get hold of me. And next season, we're well in advance, obviously, because we barely finished this season, but next season, I have got a request. We want as many Bruce Waynes, and when I say Bruce Waynes, I mean batsmen, as many Bruce Waynes as possible to pitch up, because we've been brilliant with the ball this season, but we've not been so hot with the bat. So if a couple of Kevin Petersons could pop out of the woodwork, then that'd be wonderful. And that'd help us as a club.
Yeah, absolutely. So, chaps, get yourself along. Beastie, do you fancy a bit of a swing over there, old boy?
Well, I don't think I could drop down to their standard, to be honest. I've got a...
Hey, our standard. You are the Shane Warne of Owls Alive, mate.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
an 1950s batsman, isn't he?
Exactly.
Oh, love it, love it. Yeah, so by all means, do get in touch and get involved with the Sheffield Wednesday Cricket Club. As Shaun said, of course, it is the very foundations of the football club we all know and love so well. So please, of course, get across there and get involved. So then, ladies and gents, on we go. And Beastie, the honour is all yours. Would you like to introduce the next segment?
Well, having been inspired by your version of Mr. Picnic last week, I thought I'd have a go, and just a flash of inspiration, and having a wonderful, wonderful set of pipes, I thought, this is the song for me. Enjoy.
Now we've got money, we go on, by a striker not old has been. Stripes, he looks so fine. Extraordinary guy that can shoot us the Premier League. just love Rodri.
Beastie, fantastic job. New kid on the block for Pull Down Your Chants. Saved me a job this week. Shaun, of course, new chap on the show. What do you think?
I'm speechless. I mean, it's like Frankie Valli meets the Castrato. It's, you know, it's the stuff of legend. I knew that Beastie was up there on the falsetto scale, but that he's just taken it to a whole new level, and I can't wait for him to stand in front of the cop conducting that. Like you know, he's already on the Sky adverts. It's amazing. He'll be there. He'll be the not only will he be the face of Sky, which he's been all this pre-season, he's been the face of Sky. Next year, he will be the voice of Sky. I've got no doubt about that. I mean, it's nailed on.
Oh, love it, absolutely love it. Ladies and gents, please do get in touch. Tell us what you think of Beastie's wonderful song. Of course, we'll get out there. It won't be available for seeing. And if you do have any ideas of your own for Pull Down Your Chants, if you'd like to send us a recording or like to send us some ideas, please do feel free and see if you can beat the Beastie's efforts there. Fantastic, Beasties. Love it, absolutely love it. So then, chaps, on we go, and we'll do a bit of a review of the next game. Palace. Shaun, you said earlier, not a place that you fancy?
No, not at all. It's the first time I went to Crystal Palace was under Len Ashurst in 1977, and we put a run together towards the end of the season that had taken us to the sort of fringes of what in those days was just 3 promotion places. And I think my memory told me that Malcolm Allison was their manager, but it wasn't. I checked it out recently, and it was Terry Venables. It was Terry Venables' Palace team, and we went there, and basically it was our last chance really to drive ourselves into that top 3. It wouldn't, even if we'd won, it wouldn't have taken us into the top 3. And we got there and went with my nan and granddad. We were right in the middle of the Palace supporters. It was bizarre. And all I can remember, they beat us 4-0. And all I can remember hearing was chants of Eagles, Eagles. And from that moment, when I lived in London in the 1980s, I went to a couple of games there, and obviously Wimbledon played there for a while, and if I have seen Wednesday win there, I've forgotten it. Croydon's a funny old place, and since they built the supermarket, Palace is a crap ground, and I don't fancy it at all. And even with this wonderful team at the minute, I won't be there this weekend, but I do think we've got as good a chance as we've possibly ever had to win down at Palace. And it's just a pity that Warnock's not the manager, because that would be great. Do it on him. But so I take a draw, but I hope we win.
Absolutely. Beastie, can you see much of a change round in the squad?
No, he's not going to change a winning side, is he? And I'm looking forward to this. I'm with Shaun. It's one of them places that we never seem to get anything at, and it's just a horrible place to go to. It's a long walk from the tube station. It's usually really rubbish weather. And we get nothing, and we've spent all that money, travelled all that way just to travel back depressed. But last season, we got rid of all the hoodoos. We beat teams that have usually beaten us, and that's going to happen this season. And it's going to start, well, it started with Derby, because we usually never get anything there. So getting a point at Derby were like a victory. It's going to be the same here. I'm confident we're going to win. I am so confident that we won't come away without at least a point, and I'd be happy with that. Dave Jones will have them geared up for it. Bring it on.
Put your money on Antonio, to be fair, because bearing in mind he's from that neck of the woods. I know it's not west of London, but it's his stomping ground, and he's the sort of player, even though I don't think he's a particularly arrogant young man, I think he'll be inspiring by I would imagine there'll be loads of his family there, and he'll want to put a show on. And if I was going to have a bet on a Wednesday player to score a goal this weekend, it would be Antonio. And I might even have a dabble. Although I was bloody awful on Tuesday night, I backed the air and he hardly got forward. So perhaps I'm not the best tipster in town.
Right, so, I say we'll pop down there and we shall see what's what. So, ladies and gents, that brings us to the end of the show this evening. We'd like to thank Shaun very much for coming. Shaun, where can people get hold of your boy?
On Owls Alive, and on, just on Facebook. I've got a almost unique surname, so I'm not going to reveal it, but, yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. An absolute pleasure. Beastie, where can people get hold of you?
Same place, Owls Alive, at Beastie on Twitter. Check with Owls Alive on Facebook as well. We'll talk to anybody at Owls Alive.
Apparently so.
Even Owls Online.
And of course, let's just get hold of me at Lord H over there on Hills. That's L0RD_H. You can get hold of the podcast, TWW Podcast, over there on TWW Cast, should I say, over there on Twitter. You can email the show at twwpodcast@gmail.com, and of course do pop up there and check out our YouTube page. So, ladies and gents, that's it from me. Shaun, would you give us a goodbye?
Au revoir.
Beastie, goodbye from your boy?
Yeah, I'm not bilingual like Shaun. I'll say that.
Well, there have been rumours, though, Steve.
There's always rumours about me.
And it's a very goodbye from me, ladies and gents. So we shall see you very, very soon.